Daniel 7, 1 through 28. Devotional focus first. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped their residue with his feet. Daniel 7:19. In the vision described in this chapter, Daniel saw a number of troubling images that included violent conflict between powerful beasts. The fourth beast was particularly fearsome and aggressive. Daniel's attempt to describe this beast brings to mind a giant machine named Bertha. In 2013, a 9,270-foot-long tunnel boring project began under a portion of downtown Seattle, Washington. Bertha was a machine especially designed for this project. At 326 feet in length and with a weight of over 6,000 tons, Bertha was the largest tunnel boring machine of her kind when she was moved into position. Her key feature was a cutterhead 57.5 feet in diameter with 750 teeth that performed the task of boring through solid rock and packed earth. This amazing machine initially worked wonderfully, but when it was barely over 1,000 feet into the tunnel, boring was halted by an obstruction in Bertha's path. This was the first of several delays. In 2019, the tunnel project was finally completed, about 2 years late and more than $200 million over budget. Lawsuits among insurers, Bertha's builders, contractors, and civic government were many. Though the tunnel was completed, numerous ongoing conflicts continued. Bertha herself was disassembled, most of her components were not reusable, and some have been melted down. Bertha had some visual similarities to the formidable fourth beast of Daniel's vision, a beast described in our focus verse as being exceeding dreadful, with teeth of iron and nails of brass. Militarily, the fourth kingdom that the beast represented was dominant. It surpassed and was different from all that were before it. Yet, it was incapable of delivering a permanent, righteous, peaceful government, and eventually was destroyed. People long for a harmonious society free of strife and turmoil. But history has proved that elected politicians, legislative policies, military might, and human philosophies cannot achieve this. Only God can provide the peace that people need and desire. In his vision, it was undoubtedly comforting to Daniel to observe that all the kingdoms were eventually subdued by the righteous rule of the Ancient of Days, and to understand that his kingdom could never be defeated. Thousands of years later, it is comforting for us to realize that one day Christ's dominion will displace all earthly kingdoms and will end all chaos, turmoil, and strife. Until then, we need not be unduly troubled by what we observe in the world around us. Ultimately, the Son of Man will prevail and rule righteously forever. Background information. The information in verse 1 places Daniel's vision in this chapter between the events of Daniel 4 and Daniel 5. The first part of this vision, verses 2 through 8, follows a pattern similar to Nebuchadnezzar's dream of the statue with the 4 sections. See chapter 2. Both foretold the rise and fall of 4 kingdoms. In Daniel's vision, these were portrayed by hybrid, animalistic creatures that were very aggressive and not subject to any moral restraints. As in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, the pattern of succession alluded to in Daniel's vision fits the histories of the Babylonian, lion, Median Persian, bear, Grecian, leopard, and Roman, the fourth beast with iron teeth, empires. The lion, whose wings were plucked, aptly characterizes Nebuchadnezzar, who was dethroned by God immediately after referring to himself as powerful and majestic. See Daniel 4:30-31. The 3 ribs in the bear's mouth could represent the 3 empires conquered by the Medes and Persians. Lydian, Asia Minor, Babylonian, and Egyptian. The leopard with 4 heads would represent Alexander the Great and the 4 generals among whom the Greek Empire was divided after his death. The iron teeth of the 4th beast indicated military strength, and this beast is commonly accepted by many scholars as representing the Roman Empire. Verses 9 through 14 introduced a kingdom that was different in its nature and duration. The Ancient of Days, or God, placed this kingdom within the dominion of the Son of Man, Jesus. The phrase, "judgment was set," highlights the sense of a kingdom with strong moral underpinnings. It points to a legal proceeding in which a judge presided, and a sentence was passed and then executed. Also highlighted is the point that a kingdom that was eternal and perfect replaced the kingdoms that were transitory and flawed in nature. The second half of this chapter begins and ends with Daniel feeling troubled by what he saw. See verses 15 and 28. God's detailed explanation of the meaning of the vision focused particularly on the 4th beast, whose kingdom gave rise to the troubling figure briefly described in verse 25. Daniel had been in exile from his homeland for most of his life, and had observed firsthand how the powerful vie for military and political power. The Jewish historian Josephus commented that the temporal kingdoms described in this passage are like chariots without drivers, which are overturned. So would the world be dashed to pieces by its being carried without a providence, and so perish and come to naught. The end of this chapter concludes the part of the book of Daniel originally written in Aramaic, which began in Daniel 2:4. Some feel that presenting the section in a more widely used language was a purposeful targeting of a broader audience in order to have an effect beyond the Jewish nation. Conclusion. In his time, the God of Daniel will institute a righteous kingdom that will never pass away. Our confidence is in him.
Daniel. Chapter 7. In the first year of Belshazzar king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream, and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and, behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and, behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and, behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him, thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. I saw in the night visions, and, behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion, and glory, and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages, should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I Daniel was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things. These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down, and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart.